You don't really need it, but yeah, like, oh, that's an int, by the way. I don't know, I hate that. It's so verbose. That's the only reason why I'm like a little bit reluctant to do C. Define max entity count. Brother, it doesn't fucking matter whether you define it, whether your mom bakes a cake and puts a 10 on it, whether you write 10 in code, or whether you have a const int to do that. It's annoying. That's the point, okay? It's fucking annoying. You could try another language like Odin. Yeah, so like we did. And actually, oh man, dieser Übergang ist so perfekt. Dieser Übergang ist so perfekt. You know, in English halt. Ne? This is like the perfect Überleitung in English. Solodevs and the trap of the game engine. What happens here is you have C++ and you start using SFML. And then, you know, you make your game, you do like some stuff, you make progress, and then you're like, oh, maybe I didn't do it right. And then you go over here and like, maybe I should do this. Oh, wow, you could do this in C++. And maybe I'm back at the beginning. I'm reworking. Maybe SFML wasn't the right choice. Let's add OpenGL. Oh man, OpenGL has so much thing to do. I don't really like doing all of that, you know, maybe I'm gonna switch over to SDL. SDL is kind of nice, but oh man, I can't use all of those features, bro. SDL 3.0 not out yet. What about this language, Jay? Oh, what about Odin? What about Zig? Don't use Zig! And then you're here, essentially. So, I think that's the trap that he's trying to tell us that you can fall into. And I haven't fallen into that trap. I have my game in C++. I'm working on my game in C++. I will release in C++. However, it is cool to switch languages. I'm very prone to switching to C, actually. Instead of Odin, like I'm looking at C as like this GOAT language. That missing key features that we just talked about with the arrays and stuff. But that for me is like the #1 language. The more I use C++, the more I'm like, wait a minute, I could just use C and have less bloat. But let's see here. So I think this is really interesting because ultimately, what do we do here? We want to make games, right? We don't want to make engines, usually. People start out making games. Like, how many of you have started making an engine or like used C++ to make a game? Not an engine, but you spend so much time making the engine. I have, definitely. I spent like 1 to 2 years doing that. You have access to Cakez. What are you talking about? See? Yeah, so J, to be honest with you, is great. It offers a lot of features, but the editor support is not there yet. And last time I used it, I had to program a rounding function myself. And I'm terrible at math. It literally took me 4 hours to do that. So no, thank you. Actually not gonna do that until they have all of the features in there. But if you make an engine, you can make games more often and save time in the future. Can you though? There are examples of studios making their own engines and making a lot of games in those engines. But there's also a bunch of studios switching over to Unreal Engine to make games. And there's also a bunch of studios that started making games in engines and made incredible games. Vampire Survivors started out as a solo project in JavaScript. They switched over to Unity to make the game in Unity and bring it to all platforms. So, how fast can you make a game, really? Especially as a solo developer. It's not a Vampire Survivors tangent again, and I'm actually gonna time you out for like 5 minutes. So, because that's a valid point, and yeah, you're wrong. Only reasons for making your own game engine is programming experience. So now that we have that out of the way, there is many reasons to make an engine, and I think it's the best experience one could ever have making a game, or learning how to get to making games. And so I think everyone should do it, but maybe not everyone should follow through to the end. But let's see here. Since I was 19, I've wanted to make my own video games. Yeah, so he's quite late too, man. Like when I was 19, I was like, maybe I should make video games. But it wasn't until level 28 that I started actually working on making my own games. I've always like dabbled and then quit. I wonder how many of you have done the same, right? You're like 19 years old, you're 16 years old, 15 years old. You're like, oh man, I want to make a game. And you spend like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 1 day, 2 days. And you're like, ah, fuck this, that's too difficult. Let's play games. That was me, essentially. Which is why I'm now 34 and I have not released a single game yet. Anyways, as in creating everything in the game myself, often referred to as being a solo developer or solo dev. But I was bad at programming, I was bad at committing to anything, and I always thought that I lacked some specific skill, such as music making, game design skills and art skills. I was not thinking that, but I also always quit, because I got lazy. Yeah, now I'm 35. Hey, my man, this guy's just 1 year older than me. Mom, good morning, hello. Yeah, I'm 34, bro. And I've just released my own game. Release trailer below. Oh, let's look at this. Oh, wow, that's loud, sorry. Oh, wow, did he program that? The physics? Yeah, you can see that his art is not his strong suit. However, it does look better than most art styles that I've seen from people that make their own games. Bop, 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 bop. Aha, so these are the sound effects looking nice. Wait, now you're in space? What is this? Wait, is this only up? Okay, I mean, for a first game, not bad. Cat and Onion. Cat and Onion? Okay. Buy now on itch or wishlist on Steam. You guys, you know what we're gonna do, right? We always do this. Cat. So this is Cat and Onion on Steam. Wait a minute. What? It has 188 reviews? How? Okay, wait a minute. People are playing this for a long time. All-time peak 10 players. 400 followers? Who is this guy? Wait a minute. Okay. Wait. Max. Yeah, it had like 2 players here, 3 players here. Damn, that's a lot of reviews. How? You thought you were in the same boat, he's leagues above you? You're wrong. He's level 35, I'm level 34. When I level up, I can spend more skill points. You're totally wrong, bro. I'm just not there yet because I was born later. Okay? You don't understand how this works, brother. Just wait. He's probably famous in Odin community, and those people buy it. Wait a minute, maybe guys, maybe we should contact Ginger Bill. And you know, then we just tell Ginger Bill to tell everyone in the Odin community that our game is made in Odin. You know, we ask him to lie for us. And then a bunch of guys from the Odin community will play the game because we pretend that it's made in Odin. Bulletproof plan. True, yes. Okay, we're gonna write that down. I'm pretty sure he's gonna help us out here, yeah? Good. You are destined to success, Cakez. True. 100%. Okay, wow, that's crazy. Let's see. I want to see this on itch then. Cat and Onion. Cat and Onion by Karl Slinsky on itch. Aha. There it is. Okay, how many reviews? How, by the way? See, like, this is what I don't understand. 14 reviews, okay, that's not that many, which is actually good. Because that basically implies that the game didn't get that much traction on itch, but it was still getting a reasonable amount. 6 months ago, 7 months ago. I wonder where he posted it. Wait, that's a lot of comments. Holy shit. How's that so many comments? So I guess he answered everyone. Okay, so guys, what we need to do, okay, when we bring the demo version back to itch.io, we need to answer every single comment. So they reply back to us. 100%. Okay. Wow, I just don't get it. Like, where's the traction coming from? Do we have, like, other links? Ah, Gamedev YouTube channel. There it is. 3,000 subscribers. Okay. 7 days ago. Pointers in Odin. Aha! Is he advertising his game here? We're gonna figure out. Oh, hello there, sir. I'm reading your article. Why don't you put out your game? Like, why is the game not in the description? Why is he not putting the game in the description? I feel like you should do that. Aha, making games using Odin. Raylib, set up first code. There's the trailer, released on Steam. And, oh, he's been making a decent amount of videos. So that's probably where it comes from. Please tell me you have linked your game. Release date trailer. We watched that. Yes, so over here on itch and on Steam wishlist. Cool. Very nice. That looks really cool. Awesome. Congratulations, bro. That's really cool. What happened between the time between 19 and 35? For me, it was 26 and 35 or 27 and 35. But I'm pretty sure is he stopped playing games and he started growing up. And what stopped me from making my own game? Well, lots of things happened. I went to university. Yeah, me too. Waste of time. Got a job in the games industry. Got a job as a web developer for me. Engine tools programmer. Kind of boring. Engine tools, okay. Worked at several game companies. Got burned out. Yeah, kind of boring working for someone else. Studied astrophysics. Oh, I didn't do that. I played computer games. Then back to games again. True. Oh, I guess he's making games. I played games. And then finally, I ended up trying to make a game by myself and actually managed to finish it. Yeah, so that part is missing for me too. But we're close. The funny thing is, my approach to making games at 35 is more similar to the one I had around age 19, and then the approach I learned from working in the games industry. The approach when I was 19. Okay, so basically the games industry told him to make games using engines. I'm pretty sure. The games industry is all about efficiency and getting results fast. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm almost open to be corrected. But in my opinion and what I've seen so far, that's what it is. More code, less React. Okay, you'll see in 5 minutes. Now, the approach when I was around 19. When I was around 19 and 22, I used to make games using C++ and the library known SFML. This just meant creating a C++ program that uses SFML to open a window, check for some input and draw some graphics. Yeah, there was no big game engine, just a C++ program. True, and that used SFML in a very ad hoc way to get things done. At the time, I never actually finished any game using this method. That's bad, because it reinforces... So like... I had that too, but I finished Pong. It's crazy. I've managed to finish my first game, Pong. And that made me so happy that I started working on a tower defense game. You know, I can show you my very first game. I don't know why he never made a small game. Maybe he didn't think about it. This is my first game. You guys have seen this before. So it's basically, oh yeah, and you see this here? This is me debugging mouse events. You know, the mouse event, where the position is and the relative position. It's really inefficient. But this is written in C++ and it's using Vulkan as a renderer. And yeah, I was so proud. So I programmed in the enemy AI. You know, that was the first time I actually managed to do actual game development instead of just programming some graphics. And you know, I programmed the physics for the ball. Like, for example, you can kind of change the ball's direction if you do it correctly. You know, I can like change the direction. Ah, you gotta lose, bro. Just wait. Oh, I won. Score. Yes. Okay, I lost. Because it like the ball is like terrible physics, right? So anyways, that's the core gameplay loop of it. And you can get more score and you enter. Basically, complete game. Terrible, but complete. You know? Cool. I wonder why you never did this. Let's see, I never actually finished making games using this method other than some group projects in school, but some of my prototypes got pretty far. So let's see here. This is where we deviate. He got a job in the games industry, I didn't, and I basically just kept making nothing. I kept playing games. Didn't do anything else. Basically wasting my life away. But I learned how to get a girlfriend, so that was also really nice. So now I have a wife and a kid. So, you know, to each their own, I guess. Around the age of 23, I got a job as a game engine tools programmer. I worked with some very talented people on the BitSquid game engine. Okay, wonder what that is. It's discontinued, but still used for creating games such as Helldivers 2. Damn, that's crazy. Cool. My job was to create editors for the engine. Editors, huh? That's interesting. It feels like this is like, it all falls into place. You mean edit? No, you don't give me that right now. Okay. You mean editors like this one that we program in at the moment? Where you can select things, move things around, and maybe delete certain objects? I see. Very cool stuff. Such a level editors, etc. I also got a lot of insights into the C++ code base of the engine. Naturally, I adopted lots of the mindset. Naturally, I adopted lots of the mindsets of how to make games from this job. For example, I started thinking that before you make a game, you need to have a nice shiny engine in place with good tools. Wrong. What you need is how to save games, how to load games, how to open a window, how to do graphics in the window, maybe how to do lighting. You need logging, you need a way to localize your game. So you need these systems, and that can be done using your own stuff if you manage to do that over time, or a library or an engine. That's what I think you need. You need those in place, and then you can make any game reasonably fast. What you wrote is true if you're working in a team. You mean like this right here? You need good tools if you're working in a team? Yes, I agree. So, for example, let's say you work in a team and one of the team guys is working for the engine, the other one, or the other 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, they work making the game. Well, they need an editor to place things. You could teach them to place things in code, but it will grow out of hand. And so yes, I agree. You need some form of editor that allows people to see the game visually and change data in the game without having to touch code. Rip engine guy. Where things went a bit wrong. Okay, let's see. It was very easy to look at a general purpose engine such as Unity or Godot and think that you should use engines with such tools to create games. Yeah, because it's faster, right? Now using such engines is using such engines is perfectly fine, but the problem is when you want to create your own games from scratch. Yeah, but that's basically how I see this is you're building games from scratch. You have like a problem with yourself. You can't go and play the normal overpowered build in every game. You need to play your own build, because the overpowered build is too easy, you know. And so that's why you're a contrarian and you want to do something different. That's how I see it. You're like a masochistic, is it masochism or something? How you say that? Where like you like pain. Or maybe that's a different word, but that's what I mean. Like where you like pain. Then you might get the idea that you also need to build a general purpose engine before you get started with the gameplay code. Luckily, I knew that you didn't need to do this. Because, you know, I was very lazy before I started programming and making my own stuff. You know how many GDC talks I watched? I watched them all, man. I could listen. I watched everything. I was an expert in watching GDC talks, you know. I was terrible at programming, but hell, man, I knew everything about those guys, okay? The guy that makes animations using easing functions in C++, you know, the poor man's animation system, watch that. Or the guy that spent 10 years making games and never had a hit, watch that too. Spiderweb software, watch that too. Easy peasy. Oh, the talk about how CD Projekt Red manages their assets in games and optimizes their games, of course I watched that too. Because I needed to know that, right? Because I needed to be a better game developer. And when you watch YouTube videos, you are actually getting better at making games. That's how it works. So yeah, anyways, and I watched those GDC talks, and there was a person, I think it was Mike Acton, got asked the question, what do you think most people do wrong when they build their own engines? And it was in context of Unity. And he told them that, well, instead of making actually games, they try to make an editor that somehow tries to be the same way as Unity, where Unity has a lot of general purpose things in there that is there for a reason, because there are so many different people using Unity. That's why it needs to be there. But for the most part, you don't need it for your game, because your game has specific needs. And that always stuck to me, where and it goes hand in hand with what Jonathan Blow says and what Casey Muratori say, Handmade Hero. What they say is build the stuff that you need and move on. And don't build something for a what-if situation, because the what-if situation might never come. And so that's essentially, I think, he fell into that trap. And I was so fortunate to not have fallen into this trap. I still wanted to create my own games, as in solo developing, so my spare time was tinkering away. So in my spare time, I was tinkering away. But I got way too inspired by my day job, where I was developing a general purpose game engine. I was creating renderers, abstract level editor tools, file formats, data compilers, but I didn't write any gameplay code at all. True, but I think that's normal. At least for the first 1 to 2 years. Okay, let's say if you're using Vulkan. 1 to 2 years you spent learning this enormous API. You learn how to make graphics, and you learn how to interface with the GPU and the memory of the GPU and logging and validation layers. And then what the fuck is Pong lighting and cameras, projection, inverse projection, and you learn so many things. I think that's it goes like this. In the beginning, it's 100% engine and rendering and stuff. Then it's 90%. Or 95, 90, 80, 85, 70. Maybe it goes back to 80 again because you made a mistake before. And then all of a sudden it's 50%. What does that mean, 50%? 50% working on the engine, changing some dumbass code that you wrote because it's trash, sound, input, whatever. 50% working on the game. And over time, you work more and more on the game. Cakez demo when your mommy comes to me, bro. Using third-party game engines. Okay, wait, but I didn't write any gameplay code at all. That, I thought, came when the engine code was mature enough. I see, so he needed to build the engine first and then the game. Using third-party engines. Okay, in my 20s, I did lots of game jams and I made many of them in Unity. It was usually quite enjoyable process, but whenever I tried to make those games beyond the game jam prototype stage, it just stopped being fun. Yeah, I have that too, actually. So, you guys saw me make games in Godot. I have not used Unity on stream yet, but you guys saw me make multiple games in Godot. And there was always this line where whenever I got past that line, it was basically no longer learning the engine, but using the engine. I no longer had to learn something new. I had learned how to make nodes, how to build new scenes, how to insert scenes or nodes into scenes, and so on and so forth. I basically had learned everything that I needed for the project to come to an end, and I just needed to add more stuff to make the project fun, but I just quit because it wasn't fun. There was nothing that kept me going. Rage quit at Particles, yeah, why not? The reason why is because, yeah, I was not having fun. It just stopped being fun. Yeah, for him too. It just stopped being fun. Odin mentioned. So yeah, anyways, engines like Unity are data heavy in the sense that you create some stuff in the editor and then hook those things up with some code. It's just a jumble where you jump back and forth between editors and code. Okay, having those kinds of tools are good for empowering non-technical game designers to create games, but for a designer programmer who tries to make a game by themselves, this split mostly introduces friction and, at least for me, makes the creation of games less fun. So what he means that is he has the same logic in the editor as he has in the game, or in code, but he can't see the code. He can't change the code. He makes a game object and the game object behaves by using the fixed update function or the update function. There's nothing he can do to make that game object do different things. Or like it is essentially hidden away. And this is what I like about C++ and making my engines too. Because ultimately you can do anything. Just today we decided that, okay, what can we do? Do we want to add a prefab to the game that consists of light sources and foliage, like trees and rocks and stuff like that? Or do we put the light source onto the foliage? And that's ultimate freedom. You can do this in Unity too, but you're still limited in a way. You're limited to the pipelines, you're limited to how Unity handles game objects. You usually want to do these pools of objects when you create a bunch of projectiles or stuff that always gets instantiated and deleted, so it's not as inefficient as just allocating the memory and then deallocating it all the time. Stuff like that. You're bound to this, right? Anyways, let's not spend too much time on this. Odin plus Raylib, back to the basics. So he switched over to Odin, which is very C-like, and Raylib is a good thing to get started because it allows you to do everything like rendering. Sound design is in Raylib. You have opening up windows. As far as I know, it's reasonably cross-platform, so you can build your game to Linux and Mac even, I don't know 100%, but definitely for Linux and Windows. And those will be the majority of platform sales that you have. Windows for sure. Let's see. A few years ago, I ended up trying the Odin programming language. Yeah, we did too. We had a blast with Mr. Gingerbill. Yeah, we had a lot of fun together with Gingerbill making a game in Odin with Raylib. Raylib is a similar platform to SFML, yeah, but written in C, and Odin comes built in with bindings for Raylib, which is awesome. You don't have to download anything for that. When I played around with this combo, I had a flashback. This feels like the good fun days when I was making games using C++. Yes! Not because of any similarity between the languages and libraries, but because my game was just a program that used a library to show some graphics. True, there was no bloat. I quickly could get to some stuff I could quickly get some stuff to display on screen, but in contrast to using a third-party game engine, I could put as much stuff in code as I wanted to. There was no dependency on data created within the game engine tools. I have had to create some tools for editing levels and some other data that is too hard to describe in code. Yes, you just have to do this. Like for example, level data, you don't want to put this in code, trust me. Why do I know that? Because I did. Do you guys remember the times when I was using 4Coder and I programmed in 5 levels in code and I basically had like 100 to 200 lines of code saying that this sprite is positioned at that position with that rotation and that size using that color? And then whenever I changed the data structure for, let's say, the foliage, I would have to go into the 200 lines of code and edit them. I remember. That was awesome. Yes, so you don't do that. I only had to do, but I only had to do so out of necessity. Sometimes I even scraped a tool I made when I realized I could describe the same stuff using code. Yeah, my idea these days is this. I'm a solo developer. I don't need to put stuff into friendly data formats or tools unless the tool really aids my creation process. True. Put as much in the code as possible. True. A procedure with, what is that? A procedure? Is it called procedure? A procedure with some parameters for creating certain types of game objects is often better than an editor. So, for example, I think this is a perfect example. We have this foliage prefab in the game here. What I want to do with this is go into my update editor function. Oh my god, search this! And then create a list like this, but with prefabs. So essentially, we're gonna create a prefab list. Okay, so I just created a prefab list really quickly, and the oak tree is not really a good example, but over here we have this deer. That's this one right here, and obviously this one should have a light source with it. And now I can just add this thing in code here, and then make myself some sort of list to the right, where I can spawn these pre-made prefabs. And this is something that you would probably just do in code. Because why would you export this out into a JSON file to load that back in? In my opinion, that's just way too much work. And this stuff right here takes 1 minute, 2 minutes to code. It's really fast. And you can see the list almost like in a JSON format if you understand C++ code or Odin code or whatever code you want to use. So yeah, very cool stuff. I think he's on the right track here. This is what I would do too. If you work on a team, you must make sure to provide tools to empower the team, yeah. But as a solo developer, creating tools that you actually don't need might just have the opposite effect. Yes, again, comparing my 35-year-old self to my 19-year-old self, I found an advantage to using Odin over C++. It's probably the building process. My C++ projects usually didn't leave the prototype stage. Perhaps it was due to inexperience, 100%. Definitely inexperience. But also there's a certain feeling of dread sometimes when you have a big C++ code base and want to implement a new mechanic, because C++ is a bit too chatty. No, I don't agree. I don't agree. So like that's probably because he was using a lot of C++ features, and Odin abstracts away a lot of stuff. So Odin is like basically going back to C. You still have a lot of features, but Odin is great, man. It feels almost like C. Almost everything works in Odin. It just works. It's crazy. So I think that was mostly because he was using too many C++ features, and probably inexperience too. There's just slightly too much friction in C++. I mean, for me it's not, but I guess for him it was. In Odin, the code is both more compact and simpler. See, that's what I mean. Simpler. C code. The simplest code possible. Without macros. Let's not talk about macros, but the code. Just the code. It doesn't get simpler than C, making it possible for me to just barely clear the mental hill of having to add new features when I need to. Also, Raylab is a bit simpler to use than SFML. All in all, it just felt fun to write games again. And I felt like I could get to go writing gameplay very quickly and also have an easier overview of the project than if I use a big engine like Unity. So yeah, what I don't like about Unity and the likes is that you have these many scripts. You always have these different scripts and entities, and data is like in different positions, and you can't at least for me, I never really was able to get an overview of what I have. I always had to click through the editor. I didn't like that much. Was working with creating game engines a mistake? No, absolutely not. So this is what I think. The more you work on something, the better you get at that particular thing. If that is working with engines to make games, or making engines in C++, or making games in C++, you're just getting better. And so no time, in my opinion, is wasted. The only time that you waste is watching tutorials for too long and then thinking you did something meaningful. A tutorial can only help you so much. You need to do actual coding or actual building something. Whether you do that in an engine or in C++, it doesn't matter. Let's see. I learned very good programming principles while professionally making game engines and game engine tools. The mistake was that I started to think that in order to make a game from scratch, you must first create a general purpose game engine. For me, the rule is make games, not general purpose engines. See, it's always the same. This is always the same. Thanks for reading. If you want to see some game development streams and tutorials, then maybe you will enjoy my YouTube channel, Karl Zielinski. Very nice. Yeah, we checked out the YouTube channel earlier. And awesome. What is this website? Oh, this is his own website. How did you find this, bro? Can you link the article, please? Yeah, sure, bro. Here, there we go. This is the article. Anyways, really cool stuff. It's crazy to see how many positive reviews the game got. I wonder why. Let's see. I want to read up on why people play this. Cute game with some very creative dream logic sections. Perfect game for a short session between all the overly serious, overly big games out there. Wait, how much money is it? €3. Okay, cool. 400 followers. Wow. Now I want to see more. A really cute game. I love the art style and the characters. Who doesn't like cats and pancakes? Amazing. Show-stopping. Legendary. Excellent. It's a super cute, short and light-hearted game that is sure to cheer you up. So they all have about 1 hour playtime, 60 minutes. Or is it 60 minutes or like 60% of an hour? Guys, is this 60% of an hour? So like 30 minutes? 40 minutes? And this is 80% of an hour? 0.8 hours, I guess. Around 1 hour playtime. I love this game, but I'm distraught. We made the pancakes, but I didn't get to witness the eating. No cat eating pancakes for me. My soul is crushed. Okay. Very nice. A lot of positive reviews. Is there a negative one? We gotta find at least one negative one. Wow, so many positive. Crazy. Wait, is it 100%? It's not a single negative review. Damn, that's the Odin community, you guys? Wait, that's the Odin community? Only positive reviews? We need to speak to Gingerbell. We need to get him on board. Yeah, maybe we can pay him like some money. You know, unter der Hand. So that he advertises our game to the Odin. Oh, there's one negative. What the fuck did I just witness? I would say this is for kids, but I'm not even sure a kid would understand what happened. Okay, I mean, okay, so one negative ending. Okay, let's see. Cakez review? No, it's not my review, bro. Wait, so that's like 100% then. 99%! It's the one guy, guys. I'm telling you, it's this one guy that's putting this to 99%. Otherwise, we would have... You need to be able to delete reviews, man. Come on. That would have been crazy, bro. Holy. The hour count of the comments is low. Yeah, the hour count of the comments is low because the game's short. This is clearly a very, very short game. The question is, could he have made a bigger or longer game using an engine? That's the question, Mr. Ramis. I don't know. The fact is, however, he managed to finish one. And he tried making games and engines before. It didn't work out for him. He got bored. So ultimately, he found something that worked for him. And I think making a really small game is the first step. And props to him. Really impressive. It's awesome. Yeah, hopefully we get to this too, you know, with our game. Which, you know, let's go back to it. Let's do some programming.